Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino, Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. Pre-market report. I have a lot of stuff that I want to cover with you, but I want you guys and girls to stick around until the end. It's not going to be that long of a video this morning. We are stronger together. So I want to get your input and opinion on some very interesting developments. So again, I promise to read through the comments, but let's start off with this. There's something going on here globally, and I know, at least I hope, that most of you are paying attention to what's happening. I'm talking about global bond yields. Let's back up to yesterday. Yesterday morning, if you recall, I came out here and I said, we got a problem. The debt market was sending us an ominous sign. Then all of a sudden, by a miracle, market opens, bond yields start to drop, the market recovers, we finish positive across the board. Beautiful and lovely. This is direct intervention by central banks, period, the freaking end. They're in here, they're manipulating the debt market. What we're actually seeing here is in our face yield curve control. All central banks are involved in this right now, and we know that they're not going to allow the debt market to destabilize until they're ready for it. And what we witnessed overnight is pretty profound. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. It's kind of interesting. This is global bond yields down across the board. Look at the US 10-year yield. That is incredible. That is absolutely incredible, the drop that we have seen. Now, on the back of that, the MMRI has now dropped below 300. Again, in our face yield curve control. What's actually going on here? Let's talk a little bit more. This stock market has gone nowhere. Zero since the high of December 5th with regard to the S&P 500. You have to understand, and I've covered this to the point of nauseum over the years, the illusion of the stock market. It's a very powerful thing. When people see the stock market rising, they believe that our economy is strong, we're booming, and everything is just perfect here. But the economic news continues to be bad. What did we find out just yesterday as part of the plethora of bad economic news? Manufacturing here in the United States continues to contract. Today, home buyer mortgage demand drops again. I mean, look, we're done. The global economy, it's dead. It's buried. And it appears, based upon what we're witnessing here with global bond yields dropping, central banks are trying to reinvigorate the illusion of the stock market. So politicians can point at it and say, listen, look at the stock market. We're all doing great. It's a deception. It's a grand deception on an epic scale. People love to see their investment plans going up and up and up. I get all that. It gives you a sense of, wow, I'm doing really well, but you got nothing. You're paper rich. These digits don't even exist. They're not real. It's not on the elemental chart. You understand what I'm talking about here? And again, where we are with regard to the stock market is it's beyond la la land. It's not, there's no price discovery. People, you know this. If you've been with me for any length of time, we have a mechanism of artificially suppressed rates and currency devaluation around the world, which has inflated a global debt bubble, the likes of which we've never seen before. It's a hyper bubble. And on the back of that, we've seen this mechanism of epic debt push stock markets higher and higher and higher. And look, we're not the only one who's paying attention to this. Obviously, central banks know what's going on. And central banks, again, with this mechanism of yield curve control, seem determined, okay, to foster the illusion of the market. So more easy money. Now, let's talk about that a little bit more just real quick. We heard from Bullard. They float this guy out, former Fed Chief Bullard, to assure the market that rate cuts are coming. Now, the Federal Reserve plays a game, this back and forth kind of a game where they have one the Federal Reserve representatives say one thing, and then another one says another. And this is a phenomenon. People, go back as far as you want to go. We've covered this over and over and over again. This is what they have. This is what they're setting up again. So again, this is a mechanism that they always use to in an attempt to, I don't know what they're trying to pull off, but it's always the same story. So Bullard says, Bulltard, we're getting cuts. Don't worry about it. But look what's going on in the debt market anyway. They're in here buying it all, which is their goal anyway. But then they float out Boston Fed President Collins. Fed interest rate cuts may not come anytime soon. So they're doing this flip-flopping thing here, which it's a game to keep the market off balance. But we all know, look, man, do you not believe sincerely that more easy money is coming here? That now the friendship that exists between the Federal Reserve and President Trump, this is just, why did he do that? Because Bullard came out and said, hey, don't worry, we're going to cover it. Do you not believe that President Trump is talking to the Federal Reserve right now, wanting to know where they're going in? Why do you think we're seeing what we're witnessing right now with global bond yields dropping? This isn't in an effort to re-prop up the stock market, again, to foster the greatest wealth transfer that has ever been seen in the history of the world, right up to the 1% and 2% is going to get sucked right out of you. Period. The end. That's what's going on. Now, with regard to stock futures this morning, despite the fact that bond yields are lower across the board and the MMRI is below 300, you got stock futures now under some pressure. The market, in my opinion, is not going to be allowed to fall here. Again, the illusion must be maintained. We don't get pullbacks. We don't get corrections. We get nothing anymore. We got a flat market since December, but it looks like central banks are in here. They're going to try to jar this loose and again, start to push cash into the stock market via the mechanism of suppressing rates or yield curve control. Sound about right to you? I think we're on the same page. So we're going to watch and see how this plays out. With regard to cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin isn't doing too much. The others are higher. Lovely. You got gold and silver mixed this morning. Heck of a run, honestly, higher with regard to this. Again, currency devaluation. I'm still saying what I've been telling you for many, many, many months now. The mechanism, it appears, is going to be to open that window to allow cash to flow into risk assets. We've seen an enormous amount of cash flow into cryptocurrencies. Crypto capital of the world, bridging the system. You all know that. Let's not cover it again right now. And that artificially suppressed rates. What this does is just open up that doorway for cash to make its way into the stock market. It gets sucked right out of you. We don't need this. We need a real market. We're not going to get a real market. You have to understand. What we're going to see here moving forward is, again, more easy money. And, of course, artificially suppressed rates on the back of that and currency devaluation. The stock market more than likely will respond in a positive way to this, despite anything else. Again, the faster that the economy comes down, this mechanism is still in play. The higher the stock market appears that it's going to go. And I've told you this for how long? I don't know, a decade. That's how it's going to play out. The more pressure on the economy, the more pressure on the middle class, the higher the stock market's going to go. That's just the way it's going to play out. And that appears that this mechanism is still in place. Sounds about right to you? Let me make sure I covered so far everything I want to talk to you guys about. But stick around because we got to cover something else here. With regard to the economy around the world, if you have even the slightest doubt that you're not going to see more pressure on it via the mechanism of artificially suppressed rates and currency devaluation, you're going to work a lot harder to make ends meet moving forward, despite all the talk and all the rhetoric that you're hearing here in the United States. And again, it's just not going to end. The mechanism is very clear. Central banks are on a mission to own it all. They already are. And have achieved their goal of being both the lender and buyer of last resort. I've been telling you that for 10 years, that's their goal. That's what they're working towards. That's what it is. The central banks collectively are the number one issuers of debt and buyers of debt. I want you to think about this. This vortex is massively inflationary. You're not allowed to know that, and that's why we're seeing what we're seeing right now. We haven't seen anything yet here. I want you guys and girls to be ready for anything. Understand, yes, it appears that the mechanism of propping up the market via yield curve control, central banks buying it all, is in effect here, no doubt about it. And that means it's that wealth has to come from somewhere. Guess where it's coming from? You. That's the mechanism here. That's why the global economy is in the spot that it's in right now. Does that make any sense to you? Or it doesn't still. You don't get it. If it doesn't, ponder these things. Think about the mechanism behind it. What's driving all of this? And you'll understand that what I'm saying is absolutely true. We do not need to see lower rates. We do not need yield curve control. We need a real market, which means buyers and sellers get to decide fair market value. When you have a mechanism of central banks in here buying it all, keeping rates artificially suppressed, you can't have a real market in any way, shape, or we don't have a real market. We haven't had one in many, many, many years. And the mechanism of a free market has wiped out, literally wiped out the global economy and propped up stock markets, creating a bubble that is beyond belief, and a real estate bubble along with it, price action distortions across the spectrum of asset classes, all the stuff that you and I have covered for many, many years. It's in our freaking face. Are we on the same page? All right, look, now I want to show you a couple of things. If you recall, this is about a year ago. Jared Kushner says Gaza waterfront property could be very valuable. This is, of course, Donald Trump's son-in-law. All right? You remember that? Now all of a sudden we got this. A couple of things going on. Trump envisions long-term United States ownership of Gaza, won't rule out deploying troops. President Trump meets with Israel's Netanyahu, suggesting displaced Palestinians be permanently resettled elsewhere. Trump says United States will take over Gaza to develop it. To develop it. Interesting. To develop it, and Palestinians should leave. Is this something that you support, or something that you'd rather see this settled out another way, or is there something else going on here? So that's the question. Again, let's start from the beginning. This was about a year ago. This is where we are now. Is this what you want to see? Is this something you support? Because it's going to, for us to develop this land over here will take trillions and trillions of dollars. Where are we getting that cash from? Anybody have any idea? Anyway, I want to hear from you on this. You support this thing, this takeover of Gaza? Is something else going on here? Maybe. Again, I don't want to sway you guys and girls. I want to hear from you. I promise to read the comments, long-term ownership of Gaza. I mean, what's going on here in your opinion? All right, make up your own minds. And let's not have a big, let's not fight about this, because I know there's going to be a lot of argument here. Let's see if we can have an adult conversation about what may or may not actually be going on here. So you guys and girls, let me know what you think about that. All right. Again, we are stronger together. Let's realize that. Look, man, let's respect each other. Honestly, we are all divinely created. When you address someone in a negative tone, right off the bat, without kind of trying to come to an agreement, realize what you're actually doing here, okay? We've lost that sense of respect and understanding that we are all divinely created. The world is divinely created here. And we need to reestablish, again, a connection with the source. And that means a connection with each other as well. Does that sound right to you? Or we should just hate each other's guts? And we should just present arguments and not come up with solutions, because that's what they don't want. They do not want us to come together and come up with solutions here. We are a conquered society. We've been divided. Let's see if we could turn those tables here. I will read through the comments and see what's going on here. I expect that some of you out here, unfortunately, can't snap out of the boxes that you've been put in, and the hatred and fear, quite obviously. But let's figure out what's going on here. Again, we're stronger together with everything. So if we can, again, have an adult conversation here. Let's try to do that. Let's see if it's even possible. Let's see if there's any hope. Because I always tell you, we need change. And change needs to start with ourselves and our relationships. And I'm just really curious to see how this is going to play out. All right. Love all of you from the heart. I want to hear from you. Please comment here. All right. I promise to read. I'm really going to, I promise. As always, I read through the comments, but today especially, I will do that. And I want to see where we're all at with regard to all this here, people. So what I want to say is this. The mechanism of what's happening here, global bond yields, clearly yield curve control. What's being set up here, in your opinion? Are they going to throw something else at us that we really should be prepared for? Always. You got to have the high ground. You know that. Never let your guard down, because they're going to continue to do things to us that you're not going to believe moving forward. And you and I, we understand this. And we're ready for whatever they want to throw at us, because they are not done. They are not done with a lot of stuff going on here in the background. You guys are going to more than likely know what I'm talking about. Again, when they're trying to get you to look in one direction, you got to look someplace else. You have to understand, they're trying to distract you. It's a deceptive tactic that works on brainwashed masses here. You're not brainwashed. When you see stuff like we've covered here, you got to look in another direction. You got to say, what's going on? You got to dig deeper, okay? Nothing is what it seems to be at face value. Not even this. Even though, again, we got the Jared over there saying, we should, this property over there is very valuable. Okay, it's just setup. We knew the setup from back then. Something else may be going on here. But again, always try to contemplate things, not at what you see. Use your God-given intellect to allow the truth to come to you, and it invariably will. Does that sound about right to you as well? Or is Greg kind of, out there somewhere? All right. Love you all from the heart. I mean that. I'll see you all later. 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern for the live stream. All right. We got this. And in my opinion, we can't possibly lose, because we got each other. And that's important. All right. See you later.